In the news today, HTC's bid to have the International Trade Council block Apple products being imported into the United States has been unsuccessful so far. An ITC administrative judge found there was no violation by Apple of 4 HTC patents that included technologies for power management and phone dialing. But the US federal court governs patents. So what was HTC doing at the International Trade Council, the ITC? We know that the enumerated list of powers that were given to the federal government by the original US Constitution said that the state courts really don't have powers to hear patent cases. Cases are handled by federal law. They're under the powers of the federal government, and those cases are heard in the United States federal courts. So why was this case at the ITC? Well, the ITC, the International Trade Council, is a US federal agency that controls imports into the United States, focusing on trade issues, and it blocks imports of goods that violate unfair trade practices and actually also violate patent rights. So what's the benefit of going to the ITC? If you have a patent infringement complaint, do you go to the ITC or do you go to federal court? Well, the ITC is actually 25 to 50% cheaper and 25 to 50% quicker than the federal court. Now, obviously this has an advantage considering that these cases sometimes take a couple of years to be heard in the federal court. So they're quicker and can be more effective because they're cheaper. However, there are no monetary damages. There are what the ITC can do, and this is actually a very powerful threat to an infringer. The ITC can issue a cease-and-desist order that blocks imports of the products into the United States. So Apple may have had shipments of, probably huge shipments of products coming into the US from the manufacturing plants in China, and the ITC has the power, if it deems that those products are infringing patents, the ITC has the power to block those imports. So it is a venue that is often used. It's often used actually in conjunction with the federal courts. So HTC has likely filed its complaint in the federal court system as well as at the ITC and is running parallel cases. Now, there is another venue that is slightly unusual. Philips had a problem a few years ago in that it had many manufacturers were selling DVD products that were violating Philips patents, and Philips was approaching these manufacturers in Asia, primarily in China, and asking them to pay a royalty, which they subsequently refused. So Philips, instead of trying to take those Asian companies to federal court in the United States, of course it could have gone to the ITC. But what Philips did was very effective. They actually went to Walmart. So they took their complaint to Walmart. Now, Walmart, as a huge retailer in the United States, was also infringing the patents by distributing these products that were infringing the patent. So anyone in the chain of distribution can be found liable for infringement. So Walmart had a threat of an infringement suit from Philips. Walmart then went back through its supply chain and forced its Asian suppliers to buy a license from Philips. Walmart basically said, if you don't have a license, we will not ship your product. And this actually had a big impact on the DVD industry. Some manufacturers were shut down. The ones that did not have a license could not sell through Walmart, and they ended up closing their businesses, many of them in China. So Walmart is another venue. It's not a very common venue, but this strategy certainly worked for Philips. So the federal court is not the only venue. HTC went to the International Trade Council in the United States. Many companies are doing that today. They were unsuccessful this time, but the International Trade Council is a very popular venue for patent cases today.